In this video, I'm going to walk you through testing and replacing a circuit board in your RV furnace. Your symptoms of a bad circuit board will be your blower fan not coming on or the igniter not igniting. There's a couple other ones, but those are the most common ones. Now to test that, we will need a multimeter, needle-nose pliers, and a screwdriver. Nothing too complicated, just need to know where power flows throughout the circuit board. And if you need a replacement, the one that I use is the Dinosaur Fan 50 Plus pins. This is a universal board that works on both Dometic and Suburban furnaces. They also have a 3-year warranty. So this is linked in the description of this video. Now to figure out how power flows through your furnace, there's a wiring diagram. So you can follow that. It's not quite easy to figure out if you're not familiar with electricity, but you'll find this on the outside of your furnace. You can also put your model number into Google to look for a diagram for your particular furnace. But to make it simple for you, I'll go around to the front and show you how power flows through. So our circuit board is located in the front of the furnace. If you can't access this from the outside access panel, you have to pull the whole furnace out of the RV. I'm going to turn this way. As you can see, there's 6 wires going into the circuit board. So we have a couple red ones over here, and this white connector has 2 blues, a red, and a black. Now looking at this one here in my hand, we have PWR, which is power into the circuit board. Behind that is a BLO, that's power out to the blower. Then on your 4 pins over here, the 4 pins that we'll test on is pin number 1, 2, 4, and 6. Backing up to 6 here, this is ground into the circuit board. If you follow that wire, it goes right down there to the connection of ground wires. Pin number 4 is power out to the gas valve when it's trying to ignite. Your blue wires over here are for your safety circuit. So pin number 2 is power going out to your safety circuit, which is your sail switch. So follow that. That goes right up here to the top of the sail switch. And pin number 1 is coming out from this area, which is the other end of that safety circuit. It goes from the sail switch back into here to your high limit switch and over here to pin number 1. So we'll grab our multimeter and we'll put it to volts and DC volts. We'll take our ground terminal, we'll just clamp it anywhere here onto the metal cage. That's going to be our ground. Now we can test power voltage with this one. Now we'll take my positive terminal where PWR pin is and touch the metal connector right underneath of the wire connector. It's a tiny little spot there. Now once the thermostat is turned on, we will have 12 volts at this point. As you saw, we had 12 volts on our power terminal. Also at the same time, if I turn this circuit board this direction, we will have 12 volts on pin number 2 as well. So I'm going to take my test lead. If you look inside there, you'll see the blue wire and a little silver connector. We want to touch our lead onto the silver part. So hold that there. Don't push too hard where you'll break something. You just need to make connection. So I'll use my one hand, hold that lead, and hold the meter. Now we'll turn our thermostat on to make sure 12 volts is on pin number 2. So we had 12 volts on pin number 2, and how the circuit board works is when 12 volts comes into pin number 2, it'll send power through the circuit board and out to our blower pin. So that's over here, our other red wire. And let me pull this off so you can just see it. So right there, where it says BLO, we would have power coming out of this. So let's just leave this off. This is a wire going to our blower motor. And I'm going to turn the thermostat on again and make sure power is coming out from right here so you can see it. I'm turning it on again. So down in the meter, we have 13 volts coming from our blower pin. So that tells me the circuit board's working properly. Right now, the circuit board thinks that the blower is supposed to be spinning, but the blower is not. So if I had 12 volts coming out from our circuit board and our blower fan is not spinning, we have a bad blower motor that needs to be replaced. Now sometimes a bad blower motor can take out a circuit board, so once you replace the blower motor, make sure it's working. You might have to replace the circuit board at that point, because once a load is put onto the circuit board, that's a true way to test it by just checking voltage coming out with no load on it from that blower motor, putting a power going through it. It's not going to fully make sure it's working properly. We're going to turn things back off over here. Put our wire back on our blower. Now back over here to the front side. So the next thing we're going to test is, we've already verified that we have power on pin number 2. We're going to be looking for power on pin number 1. That's coming back from our safety circuit. So I'll take our test lead again, touch a little silver part where the wire connects inside there. Once I turn on the thermostat, it will send power through the whole system. Then we'll be getting power back into our circuit board on pin number 1. Okay, so we have power coming back into pin number 1. Now the next step that the furnace would do is, once it receives power on pin number 1, it'll send power out on pin number 4 to our gas valve. So I'm going to take my test lead, move it over to pin number 4, just like the other ones, touch a silver part inside of there. This we need to wait a little bit longer, because the circuit board is going to just verify enough airflow is running for long enough before it tells the gas valve we're going to try to ignite. But this is the last piece that we can test on our circuit board itself. As you can see, we had voltage coming through pin number 4. At that same time you saw the voltage, you also heard a burner come on. So it was only lighting for a couple seconds. So we have another issue in our furnace that's not lighting, but this tells me the circuit board is working properly. We have all the voltages that are going through it. Now you're probably wondering one more thing though, is what about pin number 6? How do you test it? Why would you test it? So pin number 6, you typically don't have to test it, but when it comes down to all else fails, you want to check one more thing. What I would check is make sure we have power on pin number 6. But this, you'll use your black test lead. So we'll take that, put it into pin number 6. I'm running out of hands. What I'm going to do is go down here to my battery to make sure I put my red test lead on a good 12 volt source. Right down there. Now we'll look at our multimeter to make sure we have voltage. So we have 13.15 volts from a good positive source to negative in the circuit board. That tells me we have good ground into our circuit board. So that's why you would test pin number 6. It's not normally my first place to test, because I should have good ground on the metal case. Now that's what you can test on your circuit board with a multimeter. There's one other component to the circuit board that you can't really test, would be the igniter. So if all of the systems check out, the voltage is flowing through like you just did, and now the fan's turning on, you hear the gas valve come on, but you're not hearing the igniter go tick, 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 tick. So that tells me the igniter has an issue. At that point, it could be the igniter itself inside of the furnace, but a lot of times in the circuit board world, it's an igniter on the circuit board itself. This guy right here is not sending out the high voltage to the igniter, and you can't test it with a multimeter because it's sending out high voltage. At that point, you can guess as a circuit board. As a tech, we have a couple ways we can check that, but as the RV owner, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because it could be potentially dangerous. Now, if when we were testing voltages, we determined a circuit board was bad, we need to change it. So like I said earlier, I use the Dinosaur Fan 50 Plus pins. This is a universal board that works with some older Domestics or the Atwoods, Suburban. It has lots of options into it. So, because it's universal, these standoffs on here work for some furnaces, but not for others. If you come around here to the front side, you see the differences there. This circuit board is flat and it has black plastic clips that hold it on, versus this one, we need to get rid of these standoffs. So come back over here and drill those out. Okay, we need our cordless drill, and you need a bigger bit than the size of this. So this is a little smaller than 1/4 inch. I grabbed a 7/32 out of my bit set. So what I'm going to do is grab onto the back side with my needle nose pliers so it doesn't spin. Come down onto the table and drill nice and slow and easy. Okay, and do the same thing for all 4. Okay, now our circuit board is bare, get rid of any extra pieces. Now let's go over there and take one out, put one in. Down our old circuit board, we'll just pull the connectors off. So grab the white connector, just wiggle right and left and pull upward, nice and easy. Okay, we'll take our needle nose pliers, we'll pull the black wire off the igniter. And we'll have a power wire and a blower wire. You don't need to keep track of these. You'll see once they come off, they're different sizes. Look here, this is our power wire. One over here on the side, a blue one, is our blower wire. You can see one's bigger than the other. That way you can't mix them up. Now we'll take our circuit board, use our needle nose pliers. If you see on the side of that black piece there, looks like a little A. We'll take our needle nose pliers and we'll squeeze that flat and pull up on the circuit board. Now that's free. This one has 3 of those that will do, so we'll squeeze this one. I don't know why there's extra little things that are kind of in the way, but that's how they built it. Okay, new one's free. You can see our igniter's pointing this direction. So I'm going to move this out of the way. Take our new circuit board, orient it the same way, igniter pointing this way towards you. Just push down in those black clips. And I'll say, now we lift it up. It's not going to fall off there. Connect our wires again. So we'll have our power and our blower. So power is a smaller of the two. Then we'll have our blower, our other red one. Go on to that empty terminal. And we'll have the black small wire goes onto our igniter. Then we'll have our 4-pin connector. As you can see on the white connector, there's 2 little white tabs. They will line up on the side of that white bar that's behind the metal terminals. We'll just push that straight down. Okay, now we're clipped in place. Put that back in. This one didn't have a screw in it when I took it out, but there are 3 holes in there. One of them is supposed to have a screw, so I'll make sure I find one to secure this board before I reinstall the furnace back into the RV. Just take your wires and just tuck them backwards. Now, circuit board is secure. Let's turn it on and test it. Everything should light. There we go. I shut it off myself so I can talk to you, so you can't hear me with it running. But circuit board is in, everything is lighting. I would do a little longer test just to make sure things stay running for a long period of time. It's not going to short cycle, but that's how you change a circuit board in your RV furnace. Now, if you check the voltages through your circuit board and everything is doing what it's supposed to, but your furnace still is not lighting, at that point you have another issue. It could be a wiring issue, a voltage issue, a propane regulator issue, but you need to get somebody out there who's trained in those situations so they can verify which piece is bad and change it out and get your heat going again. If you need to find an RV tech to help you out with your RV furnace, I'll drop a link below for the tech locator. Stay warm this winter, and thanks for watching.